Hello, good day to everyone. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to rig a character from scratch. So we begin by importing our model sheet. So just go to File, Import, then Images. Then from here, it's quite straight forward. Just go to the location of your file. So in the import options, just make sure to keep a original bitmap for so that there will be no compression. And then for transparency, just set it to straight. Just click OK. Oops. Okay, so I have here an error. So meaning, so usually Harmony is having a hard time importing files or images that has special characters. So as you can see here, I have here a parentheses and then a number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the file name to, let's say, Kevin. And then from there, let's try to import it again. Okay, click OK, and that's it. Okay, next. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is to align my uh, model sheet at the very center of the screen. But before I do that, again, before you do anything else here in Harmony, make sure to open your preferences. So you can go to Edit, Preferences, and then just always set your preference set from basic, just set it to rigging so that all the settings needed for rigging will be automatically loaded. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna turn off my animate button for the meantime, and then from there I can now adjust this at the very center of this of the canvas. So I need some aid to determine the very center of the canvas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this button right here. So we call this the safe area. If I click this, there will be an overlay on the camera, and at the same time a marker for the center. So from there, I'm going to use my transform tool, move it to the center. So as much as possible, try to do this accurately for best results. And there you have it. Okay, so upon uh, importing the image file or the model sheet here in Harmony, the next thing I'm going to do is to create the color palette. So I'm just going to open my color palette. Here's my color palette. And then from there, I just simply uh, use a dropper to get all the available colors in my uh, design. So what I do is just remove everything from here and then create new ones. Okay, so from here, just simply double click on the swatch and then the color picker will appear. Then simply use a dropper to get the colors. So just make sure to name everything uh, properly and descriptively. So let's call this hair LA. So that's short for line art. Then do not close this. Just click on the next swatch, and this window will automatically update. So get the next one here. Then since I am planning to create the textures straightly from Harmony, I need that color for the texture. Let's call it hair texture. Then next, let's go with the skin. Skin LA. Then I need a color for the skin. I have a different color for the iris. So I'm going to get that. So iris LA. Then go straight to the iris. And then the pupil. Okay. So I think I'm already done with the colors for the head. Now let's go with the shirt. So as you can see here, I have a different color for the line of the shirt. So definitely I need to create a color swatch for that one. Shirt LA. This one would be the color. And then shirt. By the way, regarding the texture of my character design right here, I will be importing an image or a PNG file for this one, so I will not be creating the texture straight in Harmony. So so if that's the case, there's no need for you, or there's no need for me to get the colors of those textures. Then I have the color or the line art for the pants. And then, of course, the color of the pants. And lastly, I have here the shoe. Oops. And the color of the shoe. Okay. So once done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add additional 3 colors in my color palette. This will be used for additional purposes, just like masking, pivot locations, and selectors. So I created here 3 uh, new color swatches. So the first one, I'm going to assign a bright green, neon green color. This will be the color that will be used for masks. Mask. And then the next one, I'm going to assign a bright pink color. So this will be the color I will be using for the pivot location. And then lastly, I'm going to assign another color for my selectors later on. So once that's done, we are now ready to create the layers. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do here is to make my uh, model sheet transparent. So what I can do in my node view, I can just click this yellow box right here, or just press Shift E, Shift Echo, so that it allow me to open the layer properties. And on the advanced tab, here, advanced tab, down here, you'll find their opacity. So I'm just gonna set this to around, let's say, half a, okay, around 50 to make it transparent. And before you close this layer properties, don't forget to lock it. That way, our model sheet will not be selectable. So you'll be able to click it. Okay, so from here, basically what I'm going to do is create a plan. So for the planning, we just simply need to identify the parts that needs to be separated. So definitely for each detail here, I need to extract those. So when extracting, what you need to have to take into consideration would be the movement when, let's say, the character change perspective. So if that particular detail moves in perspective, we need to separate it. So let's start. So for the eye, so I have here This one will be the pupil. And then this one right here, that will be my iris. And then I have here the shape of the eye. So we're going to call that the eyeball. And then, of course, the eyebrow. So there's no need for you to create additional planning for the opposite eye since this detail is actually symmetrical. So all you need to do later on is just to build one side, clone it, and then mirror it on the opposite side. Okay, so moving on will be the nose. So make sure for the nose, make sure to complete or to apply a color than that. So we don't want to just have that line. So you have to remember the parts that we do or the drawings that we use in the front view will still be used in the other views. So what will happen is that once the front view is created, to generate the other views, we're just going to move them. So make sure that these drawings are, let's say, around 80 to 85% usable on the other views. So the nose and then the mouth. Okay, next. So for the head shape, what I'm going to do here is to subdivide it into two. I have here the shape for the head, so the upper part of the head, and then I have here, of course, the jaw. There. So head, then I have here the jaw. So for the ears, I'm going to create two parts for this. So, oops, here. It should be ear. And then, of course, the ear detail. Okay, so I forgot one part for the jaw. I have here the beard. So for this beard, I am planning to, of course, extract that shape. But I need a bigger drawing for that. So what will happen here is that I am going to apply masking. So we are going to use clipping mask for this beard so that whenever the character turns, change direction, or change perspective, all I need to do is just to move this beard on the direction that is required. There. So that will be my beard. Okay, so to complete this planning, so let's try to create the hair. So for the hair, avoid creating just one big chunk for this hair. So again, in perspective, this details, most especially this curves right here, would move. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to extract or create smaller chunks of the hair, and then just have to make sure that all of them are overlapping. So just to create the illusion that these drawings are just one big chunk of hair. Okay, I have here the sideburn. Okay. So this part right here, I need to separate it. So usually for this part of the hair, you use it for follow through. So it's the one that basically reacts when the character moves. This one as well. Then make sure to make them overlap. So as you can see during the planning stage, aside from enumerating the parts needed or identifying the parts needed, I am also somehow identifying the shapes that will be used. Okay, so I guess those will be the parts for the head. So I have here 9 layers. Okay, so moving on. Let's go with the neck. So this will be my neck right here. And then, so what I'm planning to do is I want to separate this skin part of the chest. So it'll basically look something like this. Okay. Let's call it the chest. And then I will be separating the collar. So for the collar, I'll be extracting three parts for this one. One, two, and the last one would be here. Three. There. Okay. For this kind of character, it's also advisable to separate or to extract the shoulders. This for easier animation. Okay. So you have here the shoulder. So I'll be cutting it in half. There you go. And then this one right here. So shoulder. And then for the shirt, I'll be creating just one layer or just one drawing, one big shape for the shirt. And then to help this with the perspective, I'm going to extract this line. So this part right here will be extracted, and then this gap right here will be extracted as well. Okay, next, I have here the sleeve. So you have to remember the sleeve is a part of the arm. It is not a part of the shirt. So rigging wise, is basically a part of the arm. So I'm going to put some circle markers here. There you go. Okay, so from here to here would be the upper arm. Then from here to here, that would be our forearm. And then this one would be the hand. So for usually for human characters, we do not rig the hand. So to animate the hand, we just animate it traditionally. That's it. Okay, last but not the least, we have here the lower body. So for the lower body, so I have here the drawing for the hip. There you go. And then don't forget the drawing for the crotch. There's a crotch in this character. So again, if that particular detail would move along the perspective, you need to separate it. Same thing. So separate this. So we have the thigh. I have here the shin. And of course, I have here the foot. There. So basically, these are all the parts that are needed to complete my character rig. So for the next part of this tutorial, we'll now begin creating the layers.